Not every villain is born in darkness. Some start with a crack, and that's where they get you. Here are 8 times we actually felt bad for the villain, starting with Mr. Freeze. Victor Freeze didn't want power. He became a villain because the world gave him no other way to save the only person he loved.
You can't stop it now. My wife is in there.
So bring her out.
You can't interrupt the process now.
Open it.
It's her only chance.
His wife suffers from an incurable illness. Victor doesn't accept her death as inevitable. He rejects that reality entirely by freezing her body. And then that purpose is destroyed.
Nora!
When Poison Ivy murders Nora, she removes the only moral boundary keeping him anchored. His mission was preservation. Now it becomes revenge.
Begging to me with frozen eyes. How I've longed to see that look frozen on you.
Victor Freeze was never shaped by hatred. He was a villain because of love. But not every villain begins with love. Some begin with humiliation. And when humiliation is repeated long enough, it fractures minds. That's where the Joker begins. Joker wasn't always like this. Before he became Gotham's center of animosity, he was just a man trying to survive a world that kept humiliating him.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Every night he walks on stage hoping for validation. The laughter he wanted never came. And rejection, repeated long enough, begins to erode a person's identity.
That's my cue.
He has a pregnant wife depending on him and no way to provide stability. The world doesn't see his pain, it only sees his failure.
No. Is it, so how are we gonna feed our baby? You think I'm not worried about that? You think it's all a big joke to me?
He believes that sanity itself is a fragile illusion that can be stripped away from anyone. And in his mind, he's not proving his madness. He's proving everyone else's. While Joker fought for validation, the next villain struggles with an ideology he never chose. And when you grow up in a system that rewards cruelty, sometimes evil isn't a choice. It's the only path you're allowed to walk. From childhood, Draco Malfoy is taught that blood purity determines value, that superiority is inherited.
You'll soon find out that some wizarding families are better than others, Potter. You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort.
After his father fails Lord Voldemort, the punishment falls on Draco. He is ordered to assassinate Albus Dumbledore.
Draco, you are no assassin.
How do you know what I am?
On the astronomy tower, when he finally corners Dumbledore, he cannot pull the trigger because he was cruel, but he was not built for murder. Draco Malfoy was never a monster. He was a product of pressure, expectation, and inherited hate. But not all villains are shaped by ideology. Some are shaped by the world turning its back on them. Where Draco's darkness was inherited, Penguin's was imposed. And sometimes the pain of never being seen is enough to make someone rise above it, by any means necessary. Penguin was not born powerful, he was born unwanted. His physical appearance alone made him a target. Before people heard him speak, they had already decided what he was worth.
I believe the word.
As a child, he was mocked relentlessly and treated as something less than human. But humiliation, repeated over the years, begins to reshape a person's identity. It teaches them that acceptance is conditional and that dignity bows in front of power. And therefore, Oswald seeks power. He created the Iceberg Lounge, a place where Gotham's elite are forced to stand in his presence, forced to acknowledge him. Every insult, every rejection, every moment of public humiliation made him the Penguin Gotham would never be able to laugh at again. Some villains, though, aren't forged by ridicule or revenge. They're forged by responsibility, by a purpose bigger than themselves. For General Zod, suddenly survival, loyalty, and duty became a kind of villainy all on their own. Zod is never framed as irrational. He is entirely aware of what he's doing, because unlike most villains, Zod was never given the freedom to choose who he wanted to be. He was engineered for one function: protect Krypton.
I exist only to protect Krypton. That is the sole purpose for which I was born.
So when Krypton dies, Zod doesn't just lose his home, he loses the reason he was born for. Then he discovers Superman. To Zod, he's a tool that can help rebuild what was lost. But Superman chooses Earth. And in that moment, Zod is forced into an impossible position. His purpose demands Krypton's survival. His instincts demand restoration. But the last son of Krypton refuses to cooperate. His purpose vanished, and with it, the line between hero and villain blurred. Where Zod lost his mission, Voldemort lost everyone. In that emptiness, a dark power was born. Lord Voldemort was born abandoned. From the beginning, he learns a brutal lesson. Survival is individual. There is no one coming to save him. Other children form friendships. He observes them from a distance. Love isn't something he rejects, it's something he never experienced. And absence creates distortion.
Think I was going to keep my filthy Muggle father's name.
When he discovers he's a wizard, he realizes that him being different wasn't a weakness, but evidence of superiority. But beneath that superiority is fear. A fear that he might return to that original state, powerless, forgotten. Immortality becomes his substitute for love, because love requires trust, and trust requires vulnerability. Two things his childhood taught him to avoid completely. Voldemort doesn't understand human connection, he understands control. And control is the only thing that ever made him feel safe. Voldemort's darkness was born in the absence of love. Ra's al Ghul, on the other hand, was shaped by centuries of watching humanity destroy itself. Both believed they were doing what was necessary, even if the rest of the world called them monsters. Ra's studies civilizations the way a doctor studies a disease. He observes corruption, moral decay, environmental destruction, and human greed spreading through societies like an infection. And in his mind, infection must be removed.
Ra's al Ghul, you're gonna wish you stayed in hiding.
You have no idea how wrong you are.
Ra's has lived for centuries sustained by the Lazarus pits. He has watched empires rise with promise, only to collapse under their own excess. His solution is calculated. When a civilization reaches irreversible decay, he destroys it. Not out of hatred for humanity, but out of belief in its potential. He believes destruction creates renewal, that suffering forces evolution, that humanity improves only after losing everything. In his mind, he isn't ending the world, he is saving it from itself. Where Ra's acts from centuries of observation, Adam acts from the immediacy of pain and loss. Both see themselves as enforcers of justice, but for Adam, the line between justice and vengeance disappears the moment he chooses to protect his own. Black Adam has no ambition. He was shaped by loss. Kahndaq is a nation crushed under tyrants, foreign occupation, and endless exploitation. Generations grow up knowing only chains and soldiers. Black Adam is one of them.
One power ruled it all.
Black Adam.
When the wizard grants powers to the boy Harut, it represents hope. But hope threatens tyrants. Assassins strike. Harut transfers the power to his father with his dying breath.
But I wasn't strong enough.
Adam doesn't become a hero. He becomes vengeance. He annihilates the oppressors without restraint. To the world, this is brutality. To him, it's justice. But vengeance without limits becomes indistinguishable from tyranny. He was imprisoned for thousands of years because he refused to compromise. He isn't fighting for power. He's fighting so that no father ever has to watch his child die for hope again. Across Warner Brothers films and animations, these antagonists aren't written as monsters from the start. They're written as people who lost something first. None of these choices are defensible, but every one of them is understandable.